When you don't have those things, then it makes life much more difficult.
And that's what the city's trying to do anyway, these mixed-use planning. Pockets of retail and commercial throughout the city, not just in one spot like at Costco. But again, a lot of people from the west side, caravan out to the east side to go to Costco. I mean, you're not going to be able to stop it. But creating these small little areas like they have is very good, and that's make it so it's in walking distance, particularly with gas approaching $5 a gallon. That's pretty wise.
Yeah, you can take a look at medical services for an example. When they, because I was living contiguous to Northwest Crossing, when the development got started, I got to have a pretty good hand in what it was going to look like. And I said, okay, because of the traffic problems getting from west to east, you're going to either have to put in a helipad or a medical center over on the west side. And now we have a medical center over on the west side, right where the Reed Market Bridge is. So and I know people who go there in emergencies because they know they can't make it to the hospital on time.
That's important, yeah, to have a medical. Is that another part of infrastructure, or is that not?
Well, it is in the sense that we want to make areas available with transportation so you can get to it. Okay, now one important part of infrastructure would be, say, fire services, any of the public safety services. But again, those are part of the city's ongoing tax base. So what we have to be concerned about is, well, how long does it take to get from one place to another? And one of the reasons I used to chair the City Transportation Committee, and I was fired by the city manager for opposing the Bill-Healy Bridge. I didn't oppose it because of the fact that it was a bridge to the canyon. I opposed it because of where it, the fact that it was going to connect to Reed Market Road, which created that disaster. And the city trotted out all sorts of officials saying, no, we absolutely have to have it. The sheriff said, oh, we got to have it to move from the east to the west, and the police chief. And finally the fire chief, got some backbone and said, I'm not sending my trucks down there unless the canyon's on fire. Because he understood the problem. And if you want a good afternoon's entertainment, just take yourself a beer cooler and a chair and sit along Reed Market, sit along the bridge, and watch a police car try to do an emergency run, across that area. It's a scream because there's just no way that the car can get around the traffic. So, yeah, when we talk about things like that, we need to make sure that there's good connectivity and relatively high speed possibilities for the public safety services to get there.
That's true, and I've seen lots of places without lots and lots of neighborhoods without a park.
Yes.
Lots of kids playing on the street, and I just think that's kind of a joke. Why would they even do that?
Well, and the funny thing is that originally the way Bend worked was that if you had a subdivision, you had to provide land for a park. And the classic case is right up here. I live in Valhalla, which was the first subdivision for Bend, and it had land for a park. And the Parks Department was trying to sell the land. And I jumped up and down and screamed and hollered and said, you can't do that. And now we have the best neighborhood park, I think, anywhere in Bend, because it's got its own little forest and everything, that was originally donated as part of the Valhalla subdivision. And we really need those basically especially when you've got apartment complexes and everything, you need those, you need one every 2 or 3 blocks or something, so the parents can have some place to take kids.
But as a point, as the city increases density, there's going to be more people living within smaller areas. So therefore, you're going to need more parks, not less, for recreation. And the issue on public safety, I wanted to add that public safety also means safe intersections, safe roads. Right now, we have various dangerous areas. 3rd and Reed Market, north end of 3rd Street and the Parkway, or the north end of the Parkway. These areas are considered dangerous by the police in terms of traffic accidents. So that's a public safety issue that the city is not addressing by not addressing infrastructure.
Well, you also have economic issues.
Okay.
Right? Take a good case as the Mount Washington Drive, Century Drive roundabout. which a lot of times during the day is completely congested. Well, imagine what happens when you get some family from Portland or something wanting to spend a lot of time and money up in Mount Bachelor, and they see that mess, and they just turn around and go back home again. So, you know, they lose business.
I'm Frank Feedler, and I'm a freelance writer here in Bend. I've lived here about 24 years, and I've seen tremendous change in Bend in that time, and so I've been very concerned about protecting our livability, and feel very strongly and passionately about that.
Oh yes, well we're all three of us the chief petitioners to the process, so we're sort of in charge of the whole thing. I'm Kenneth Chard. Let's see, I used to be a diplomat. Right now I do a lot of writing and photography and rabble rousing. And so right now we're trying to rouse the rabble.
Rocking the boat?
Well, there's nothing better than, I mean, I have always wanted, you know, a whole group of very weird-looking people carrying torches and pitchforks to, you know, infest City Hall at one time or another. I figure if we did that a couple of times, we'd get there ourselves.
What makes you passionate about Bend?
Well, I've traveled all over the country, and Ken's traveled all over the world. I've been around the world a little bit, but not as much as him. And I came through here first in 1976, and it was the best spot after driving across nothing for like 2,000 miles from the East Coast. And I've always remembered Bend, and it was an affordable place when I first moved here in '84. So it, and that was attractive as well. Plus I could see that it was going to grow because of the climate, the amenities, the outdoor, and mainly I really enjoy the fresh air. I mean, you can't put a price on that at all, and that's, I still enjoy that about Bend.
Well, basically what happened in my case is that after spending 4 years keeping Americans alive in Algeria, I came back pretty beat up, and my employer wanted to send me to the War College, and I said I didn't want to go to the War College. I wanted to come out to the West Coast, to the Hoover Institution, where the President's Kitchen Cabinet was. And my father was retired in Victoria, British Columbia, and we used to drive up the coast in order to see him, and one time we decided to come inland, took one look at Bend and said, wow, this reminds, I had a wife at the time, and this reminds us of Boulder, where I grew up, Boulder, Colorado. And so she said, well, you know, if you really like this place, you better get a house while they're still affordable. And so we did, and that's sort of how it got started.
Great, yeah, Bend definitely has this magic about it. It's really like, I was born here and raised here.
Really?
Oh. Yeah, and I moved 3 other places, and I was just, because I was, you know, when you're raised somewhere, you want to leave.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, but every place I moved after I got out of high school, like, I went to, you know, Georgia, Phoenix, and Florida, and it was just kind of, oh man, nothing compared to Bend. Every time I came back, I was like, I didn't know how good this was. I didn't realize that this is like a rare good place to live.
Right.
And that's what I think Infrastructure First is doing, is to try to keep it that way,
right,
and not have it kind of like sucked up into the negativity of the other types of cities, and they get really big, and that's when crime increases, because people don't have, like, you know, the park, but, you know, like, they don't have this sense of community, because it's all...
And there's a strong correlation between when Proposition 13 passed in California, the LA city parks had to completely cut back programs and services, and then that has been correlated with the rise in gang crime in the inner city.
Because kids have energy.
Because there's nothing else for them to do, because we've sacrificed that because of